Hey guys and girls, it's John Alberti with livingpurposely.com. I am going to be talking about boundaries today. And as you can see, I am outside in my backyard in Charleston, South Carolina. Yes, it is December. I think it's December, where's my calendar? 20th right now. I'm in a short sleeve shirt and jeans and flip flops right now. So it's great. If you ever want to come visit Charleston, you got a friend to hang out with. One thing before I start this video is you're probably noticing this tree right here. So just to clarify what this is going on so you're not thinking, what is that orange crap on that tree during this whole video is my wife and I are pretty thrifty, crafty people. A neighbor a couple houses down was throwing away a mattress, not a mattress, ooh, that's gross. I did not spray paint a mattress, a crib. And my wife steamed it, she sanded it down, and she painted it. We don't use people's used mattresses, I can assure you of that. So let's jump right into it. So boundaries. I've got notes here. I'm going to be looking down every now and again. So first question is, where do you feel like a helpless victim in your life? Well, and where should you draw a line in the sand? I use draw the line in the sand because usually that's when we first experienced boundaries was in grade school where we're playing on the playground and somebody, usually us, would draw a line in the sand and go, if you cross that line or else, just cross that line. And what would that person do? Well, they would cross that line. What would we do? We would back up and draw another line. So that's where boundaries first came into play. And honestly, I didn't hear really about boundaries until about 6 months ago. And I've been really working on that. So I'm going to give you an example in my life where I've had to set boundaries. I'm not going to go into great detail out of respect for my partner, my lovely wife. But when we would have an argument and it got heated, there would be some abrasive language used towards me. Well, I'd stayed in it. I would set a boundary, and just like I did in grade school, I would back up from it. I'd draw another line in the boundary to remind my wife, and then I would back up from it, and then I would back up from it, and then I would back up from it. So ultimately, that's not healthy, and I started developing more healthy understanding of how to set a boundary. So I took ownership of what I wanted. I said, I want you to stop speaking to me this way or I'm going to leave the conversation. Basically, I said exactly what I want and I leave it up to the other person to either respect it or not respect it. And ultimately, that comes back on me to implement what I said. At first, here's the transition, was difficult. First, starting out in boundary setting is usually one extreme to the other extreme. No boundaries into setting boundaries with a machine gun. I'm talking you're shooting boundaries up all over the place. You're doing it unhealthy, this way, that way. I ultimately call that the boundary Nazi. I was a boundary Nazi in my own relationship, and I'm learning to work through that. So what I call now is strategic retreating. When my spouse, you can use it on your partner, wherever your boundary is, I say, I love you. I want you to stop talking to me this way or I'm going to have to leave. And then I leave. No questions asked. And if we want to try to re-engage, I will be open. That is the best part of being authentic and a conscious person. So it's not about getting others to be different with boundaries. It's about changing ourselves. So I've got a question. Whose problem is it in this whole boundary debacle? Is it the person crossing the boundaries? Is it the person setting the boundaries? It's ours. It's our problems. Ultimately, if you're going to stay in the victim mentality, you're going to put it on the other person. In reality, it's our issue to set our boundaries and to hold our line. So setting boundaries allows clear lines of your non-negotiables. Ultimately, this creates room for a relationship to grow. I thoroughly believe that. Flipping pages right now. I don't have yerba mate today. In case you're guessing, I've got some good old-fashioned water straight from the tap. I know this stuff's probably going to kill me. So some tips. Never defend yourself. Why? Why not defend yourself? You got to defend what you rightfully believe in, of course, but it will make you feel and appear weak in my beliefs. We don't have to continue something, we don't have to convince someone not to treat you poorly or that it's okay for you to do something that feels right. We don't have to convince anybody. That's a great part about being an adult, so enjoy the benefits. Decide what feels right to you and then hold on to yourself. Well, great, John. What does that mean? Bad days come, bad days go. If it's so in nature to treat you badly, get away from them. Strategic retreat. I love you too much to stand in this because I feel like I'm going to say something that's going to hurt you, and I'm going to leave this conversation. When the dust settles, we'll readdress this. Yeah, that sounds all crazy, and honestly, it's kind of a mentality of fake it till you make it, but the more you do and the more you're being the person that you want to be, ultimately you'll become that person. So here's a tip. I highly recommend you journaling. Keeping track of what you feel day in, day out. If you need to wake up early in the morning, that's when I do it, or late at night. That's another option, but write what goes on. So here's the meat and potatoes of where you back up from your line. Realize how much and where you retreat from your line. Usually it's an area where you avoid conflict and solely to keep the peace. So those are a couple things you can do. I highly recommend a book. I have not read this book, so I can't really fully back it, but I'm going to highly recommend it because so many people have highly recommended it to me. And that book is Boundaries, When to Say Yes, How to Say No to Take Control of Your Life by Dr. Henry Cloud. I'm pulling up my phone right now to show you a picture of it. That's the book. I recommend it because it's been recommended to me. That's going to be next up on my reading list. As always, guys, I would love your feedback. I would love your questions. You can get a hold of me at email at john@livingpurposely.com. You can check out my website at livingpurposely.com. You can email me. You can find me on Facebook either at purepurpose.com or at Facebook Pure Purpose, or my own personal Facebook, John Alberti. Best method to get a hold of me is via email, or just give me a call. Like I said, call me. Leave me a voicemail. I will return your call and set up another time to talk with you. I always just humbly give to people. So until next time, much love. Realize where you're backing up from your line. And stay tuned to my blog. I'm going to have a post about boundaries. So cheers, guys. Take care.